Welcome into the CHGO Blackhawks postgame podcast powered by ComEd. It is getting easier for your business to switch to electric vehicles. Learn more at comed.com/clean. Nailed it. Welcome in. Happy to have you guys here. Hawks win 3-1 over the St. Louis Blues, their second win in a row, their third consecutive game with a point. Solid performance. We're going to get to all of it. Before we do, please smash that like button for us on the YouTube page. Subscribe to the YouTube page as well. We would greatly appreciate that. And podcast listeners, follow, subscribe, whatever your favorite app calls for, and leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Greg, it's good to see you. I've been seeing you for hours. I've seen you since like 6 o'clock. But, hey, man, it's a lot more fun doing post games on wins than it is on losses.
It is. It's fun. And good for this group.
Yeah.
I mean, Petr Mrazek lights out again.
He's great.
Anytime you beat the Blues is a fun night.
Yes.
I will always hate that team.
Well, they
No
right
what.
from the start, they're doing the home of the Blues thing during the anthem. Like, no, get out. It's actually technically not the home of the Blues.
No,
so
it's
shut up.
not. Yeah, do that in your arena.
Yeah.
Because you're not in your arena. I know geography's hard when you're in Missouri. Go put your jean shorts on and root for the Cardinals. And get the F out of our stadium, losers.
Goodbye.
With your only one Stanley Cup banner in your arena, you bunch of jerks.
Yeah. Screw you, Bruins, for ruining that whole thing.
Yeah, dumb Bruins.
Anyway,
St. Louis Blues. I mean, you get your fans can have a 6-hour drive talking about the awesomeness that is Nikita Zaitsev.
That's right. The Zaitsev game, he was the number one star in this game, and frankly, he deserved it. We're going to talk about him a lot, but your third star of the game, Anthony Beauvillier, who picked up a goal, must have gotten a piece of that shot from Zaitsev. The number 2 star, Petr Mrazek, stopping 39 of 40 Blues saves. He was terrific. And Nikita Zaitsev with 2 assists in this game. 4-star nominees, they're up there on the YouTube if you want to vote. Here are your candidates. Mackenzie Entwistle had a goal, +1, 11:07 of ice time, a shot, and 3 hits. And damn, was he effective in this game. Forechecking the shit out of it, winning pucks, stealing pucks, finishing checks, getting scoring chances. For a guy who played 11 minutes, he was incredibly impactful on this game.
Absolutely. It's good to see. I mean, as a team, the Blackhawks played tonight what Luke Richardson's been trying to get this team to do all season long.
Yes.
This is the game you bottle up and throw out there. Now, were they getting, giving up a lot of shots in the second half of the game?
Sure.
Yeah, but St. Louis was desperate. They were down. And I wouldn't call the Blues finished with 40 shots.
40 on the dot. Yep.
How many of those would you have called, like, dangerous shots? It wasn't.
Yeah, like there weren't a ton of like prime scoring. There were some shots that were difficult saves because they were redirected or whatever. But in terms of like, wow, that was a really great chance that the Blues had, there weren't too many. He played really well, and he made some tough saves. There was one point where I looked over at you and said, the Blues could have 4 goals in this game if not for the way Mrazek's playing. But what I'm saying is the Hawks didn't give up like any, oh my God, point blank scoring chances like they've done so historically.
And I wasn't saying that to like discredit Mrazek.
No,
I was saying that like if you just looked at the shots and saw, oh wow, the Blackhawks were out. According to the event summary, it's 39. They must have taken away somebody's shot. Good, screw them. If you see shots 39-24, you can be like, my God, the Blackhawks were so lucky to win. That really isn't the case. There was a spot, maybe the first 7 or 8 minutes of the second period, the Blues really came on. Then they kind of tuckered out. And at the end of the game, and they were playing 6-on-5 for the final 6 minutes of the game.
Right.
But, like, it wasn't like you were just like, oh, my God, Mrazek's standing on his head tonight. He played really well. But, Blackhawks blocked 16 shots tonight, which is good. It seemed that there were defensemen always around swiping the puck out. The few rebounds Mrazek did give up, there was a stick there to swipe it out of the danger area.
Yeah.
The Blackhawks had a much better night getting the puck out of the zone than we've been used to seeing. And they also, they won so many one-on-one battles tonight.
Yes, they did.
Which, again, super rare.
For the record, 13 high danger chances for the Blues, which that seems high to me.
Yeah, I mean, sure. I still don't know exactly what they consider a high danger chance, but there's not a lot that stick out to me where I was like, oh my God, like we're so lucky that guy didn't finish that play.
Yeah.
But, great effort from the team. This is a team, they're the last team in the league to win consecutive games.
Hey.
And hey,
if we were in Nashville, they'd hang a banner.
They took advantage of it because the Blues played last night in Columbus, lost 5-2.
Columbus.
This is a team that has lost back-to-back games to the Blue Jackets and the Blackhawks. Not a serious hockey team.
No.
Don't tell me that this is a playoff team. Playoff teams don't lose to the Blue Jackets and Blackhawks in back-to-back nights.
They were the placeholders for the Oilers. Well, the Oilers got hot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they've played 10 out of their last 13 games on the road. So, I mean, this was a perfect recipe for the Blackhawks to be like, okay, this is a team we need to take advantage of. And they did. They came out. They jumped on them early. They got some momentum by killing off that
weird BS penalty. 2 games in a row.
Vlasic. What the F is the holding penalty in the NHL, by the way?
You've been saying it. It is like the default that looks like a penalty, but we don't know what else to call it.
You look like you cheated, but you really didn't, so we're just going to call holding on you. If you're going to call a penalty on Vlasic on that play, don't call him for holding. He literally put his hand on the guy's back and gave him a shove, which last time I checked is not illegal.
That's not a It's
definitely not holding. Pushing the guy away from you is not holding. It's shoving. It's the opposite of holding.
And there's no penalty for shoving.
No, so they need to get that right. It seems that every time the Blackhawks get a crummy call against them, it's holding. We're like, well, that guy fell down, so I think we have to call somebody, so holding.
Yeah. Speaking of Vlasic, he's another candidate for 4-star of the game. A goal, 22-17, a shot, and 3 shot attempts. And our other nominee is Cole Gutman, an assist +1, a shot, and 3 takeaways. Just doing the little things like we talked about the other night. Like, he's never going to be a guy who puts up huge numbers, but he can go out there and give you strong shifts, contribute a little bit of offense. I like Cole Gutman's game tonight, so he's our third nominee. So you got Entwistle, Vlasic, and Gutman to vote for the 4-star.
4 shots on goal, 6 attempts in 13 shifts. That's getting your money's worth.
Yeah.
That's making the most of your time. Entwistle, you mentioned, he was our first guy. Great penalty kill. That penalty on the Vlasic, him and Reese Johnson had a great kill. They had a couple scoring chances. They were forcing turnovers, and then they drew the penalty on Thomas that wiped out the last 37 seconds of that power play because Entwistle and Johnson were putting pressure on them. I mean, it was just a really good night from that fourth line, and including Lukas Reichel, who had a pretty effective night.
That shift where Vlasic scored, I believe it was the Vlasic goal.
It was the Vlasic goal.
Yeah, he was just like buzzing on that shift, making things happen. And maybe like we talked about when he was put on that line, what Luke's trying to do is just sort of simplify things for him. And maybe you're not worried about like what's Connor Bedard going to do and what's Kurashev going to do, and we all need to like weave in and out of each other and make drop passes. I think just playing a straight ahead game has been really beneficial for Lukas Reichel. I think he's looked good in these last 2 or 3 games. So yes, the production is not there. But easily could have picked up a point tonight with the way he was playing. He almost got a piece of that Vlasic shot. Could have had a goal. So it's like it's going to be baby steps to pull him out of this tailspin he's in. But right now it looks to me like the Lukas Reichel arrow is pointed up.
He seems to be gaining confidence. He seems to be more willing to engage and, get in the one-on-one battles, use his body a little bit more. He's seeming to do, and you're going to have to when you're playing on that line. So, and he's going to be there for at least one more game because you're not changing the lines after this lineup won your back-to-back games. Washington, quick turnaround. Washington coming in tomorrow. So it'll be a third straight game on that line for him. We'll see if Ryan Donato's back. He'll
probably just take Reese Johnson out then if that's the case.
Yeah.
And he was fine. He dropped the gloves with Braden Shen, which is a nice exchange to make.
You take that trade off anytime.
Yeah.
If Reese Johnson can get Braden Shen off the ice for 5 minutes, thank you very much.
Yeah, that's great. And he did the little things right. But just in general, like from the start of this game, I think towards the end they started running out of gas because they were just the Blues were throwing everything they had at them. Like you said, shorthanded basically for the last 6 minutes of the game. They came out of this game with a ton of energy, and they start the game with the Dickinson line, and once again, they get the puck in the blue zone, start to cycle, start to cause some pressure, and forechecking like crazy, finishing checks. That's the thing. And those nights where we get frustrated and people are like, who cares? It's a rebuild. Losses are good. Like, we understand that for the big picture, but it's the idea of how they're losing and how they're playing. And the way they've played over these last few games has been so much better, and especially in this game. I just love the way they started. Just everybody was on the page. Everybody was ready to go. Everybody, from the moment that puck dropped to start the game, the Hawks were engaged. They were physical. They were fast. They were aggressive. They looked great, and I think the Blues were kind of maybe a little bit caught off guard by how ready the Hawks came out to play.
Yeah, that could be a case. I mean, the Blues, they are a team on the decline. I don't really see like what's there. Like they got some nice young players. They have Robert Thomas, who's nice, and Kyrou,
yeah,
who's nice. You got Jake Neighbors with his, Brendan Puri-esque stats: 10 goals, 1 assist.
That is crazy.
So you have some stuff there, but then you look and you're like, oh, Braden Shen, he's still there, and Brandon Saad is,
and Nick
Leddy, and Kevin Hayes is in his mid-30s at this point. It's been 20 years since he pooped in a stairwell, and
It's been that long?
It's probably it's been at least 15.
Yeah,
he was drafted in 2010 by the Blackhawks. Yeah. I mean, so I don't know. It just seems that they're kind of, they tried to do the right thing. I think, with what they had, they traded Tarasenko and O'Reilly last year. Those weren't easy decisions, but, it was the right move to sacrifice one playoff year to kind of keep things going. I just don't think they're a playoff team this year.
No, and what they're doing is exactly what is going to keep them exactly where they're at. They're going to pick in the middle of the draft.
They're using the he who shall not be named, like, let's just try and stay competitive but not really do anything mode. And okay, cool.
Yeah, who is the guy? Like, and again, Kyrou's really good, and Robert Thomas is really good, but who's going to be the guy that like takes them to the next level? Who's the guy that's going to be the next great St. Louis Blues player? I don't see it. Like, you've still got
internet, and you're not. Yeah. Chances of you getting him drafting 17th, 18th every year go down. Not saying you can't get somebody there or luck out and get one of those players in the second or third round, but hey, that's fine. Stay mid, St. Louis.
Yeah, definitely. Stay mid. All right, we're going to take our first break. Before we do, we want you to smash that like button for us, of course. Please do that. And on the other side of this break, we're going to spend some time talking about the number one star of the game, Nikita Zaitsev.
My guy.
Sure.
Hey, did you know it's getting easier for businesses to switch to electric vehicles? That's something we can all get behind for the health of the planet and for the well-being of all of us who share it.
Yes, Greg, the electric grid is evolving to meet your cleaner energy needs, as we all need to move with confidence towards an electric tomorrow. Whether you have one delivery van or a whole fleet of shipping trucks, ComEd can help guide you to make the changes that make sense.
So what should business owners do there, Jay?
I would say they should go to ComEd.com/clean. There, they're going to learn more about the resources, fleet rebates, and infrastructure incentives available to help businesses like theirs go electric. And if you own a business, don't wait. Start making your plan today to switch to electric vehicles. It's good for business, good for the planet, good for all of us. Go to ComEd.com/clean.
Sorry, I was just daydreaming about Nikita Zaitsev. Did you say ComEd.com/clean?
That's what I said. Go now and see how going electric connects us to a better way of doing business and a better future for generations to come.
I love that message. And you know what else is weird and crazy is that we're this deep into the NFL season. Can you believe it? I can't.
No.
We got to make every second count. Gosh darn it. With DraftKings Sportsbook, you can make the most out of every game day. Bet on your favorite teams for a shot at winning big bucks. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for betting $5 on any matchup. The Bears, the Lions. Bears are looking for revenge after piddling down their legs the last 4 minutes of the game. The last time we saw Detroit, I've been liking those first drive bets
those are
all
fun.
week long. Those are fun. Then you don't have to watch the whole game. You can turn and watch a good football team. But here's a good one I like. Cole Kmet, our guy, CHGO's
definitely.
friend, plus 250 anytime touchdown scorer. But here's one I like more, plus 1,200 first touchdown scorer.
Oh, I like that too.
So maybe throw a little action on our guy Cole Kmet. Throw $10 at first touchdown. And
Can you parlay anytime and first?
I don't think you can, no, because technically you would be right on both bets if he scores first.
Maybe find a reception.
You could bet them separately.
Sure. Or you can do, Cole Kmet and plus however many receptions are set there.
I'm thinking Cole's going to have a big game. I'm feeling it.
Me too.
I'm feeling that Cole's going to be a big factor tomorrow afternoon on the lakefront. So get on the action with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Download the app now and use the code CHGO. New customers can score $150 instantly in bonus bets for just betting $5 on the NFL. Only on DraftKings Sportsbook with the code CHGO. The crown is yours. All right, I need a deep breath here.
You got it.
I got a burp too. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY. In West Virginia, visit www.1800gambler.net. Please play responsibly. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-777 or visit ccpg.org. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort, Kansas, must be 21 or older in most eligible states, but age varies by jurisdiction. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Eligibility and deposit restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. Terms at sportsbook.com, DraftKings.com/football terms.
That was as clean as I've ever heard. That was solid as hell. Just like Nikita Zaitsev tonight. I'm looking at the big blue lines. His is the biggest from Hockey Stat Cards on Twitter.
Congratulations, Mrs.
He was the highest rated Hawk in this game. Not a surprise. And we kind of get into talking, between periods and while we were waiting to start the show. He probably shouldn't come out of the lineup for a while.
No, I don't. I think he's played himself. Now you've got the Tonorti hurt again, and Korchinski's going to be away from the team for I don't know how long.
Yeah, if you missed that, he's on the non-roster list for dealing with a family situation.
Right.
We don't know what it is, but
we wish the best to the Korchinski family. Hope everything works out and take the time you need and get back in good frame of mind. I was annoyed this morning though because I put that out on Twitter. And it says non-roster, and I say, I don't know what non-roster means. Luke will clarify that here shortly, and then, of course, 9 replies. Is it World Juniors? Is it this? Is it that? Hey, reading comprehension.
I don't know what it is.
I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
Anywho, but Zaitsev, very good tonight. There's something about having a veteran back there that is just calm and doesn't seem under pressure. Wyatt Kaiser played well at times, but it just seems that every time he got the puck, he felt like there was a fire drill. He had to get rid of it. Zaitsev just gets the puck, most of the time makes the simple, easy play. I'm not saying he's a perfect defenseman by any means necessary, but he still has his deficiencies. There's no doubt about that, but he's a veteran guy, gets the puck, makes the easy play, and that's what makes what we've seen from Alex Vlasic and Louis Crevier so impressive, especially those two guys. They're so calm.
Yeah, they
nothing
really
ever
are.
seems to affect either of those guys, and for two guys, with that size and that age, to just be cool and calm back there, that is so impressive and so exciting. And Zaitsev, listen, play him every night. Play him every night at this point until he makes you say, yeah, okay, we need to take you out. Let the dude play.
Look, he's played, I think tonight was his 454th NHL game. This is a guy who's been around the block. He's played. And that calm, he's 32 years old. The calm comes with time and experience. And I think, can Kaiser get there? Of course. Can any of these young guys we've seen struggle a little bit, even Korchinski to some extent, get that calm?
Yes.
Of course. right now, as every young player, especially defensemen, say, is the speed of the NHL game is the biggest adjustment when they make the jump. And it's not about they skate faster. It's about decision making, the speed of the decisions you have to make. That is what can overwhelm a young defenseman. You saw tonight, look no further than the Dickinson goal, where Zaitsev's got the puck at the point, and he takes a look, and he sees Dickinson coming, and he waits, and he waits, and he waits, and he flips the puck over right on the tape to Jason Dickinson, who will never score an easier goal. Yeah. It's that's the sort of thing where maybe if that's Wyatt Kaiser, sure, he's maybe capable of making that pass, but would he have the patience at this stage in his career to wait it out, to be patient, to not panic, and make the nice pass? Zaitsev is calm. And look, I know that we constantly poo-poo plus minus as a really overvalued stat and something that is kind of outdated and not really meaningful anymore. But when you're a +5 on the Blackhawks in 10 games, that's noteworthy. Because this is a team that routinely is losing, and especially when you're playing on, in his case, the bottom pair.
Yeah, for sure. And another thing that like impresses me about him, and it shouldn't be like necessarily like, oh, that's an impressive trait of a defenseman, but sometimes watching this team, it is. He rarely makes that like blind pass into the middle of the ice. He's like swiping the puck into the corner or getting it up the boards, or he's looking before he passes.
Right.
How many times have we seen like Korchinski and Kaiser and other forwards too just kind of get the puck and just flip it over in an area you think one of your teammates is there, but there's nobody there. So, yeah, I want to see more Nikita Zaitsev. Ride the hot hand here. And, again, you have one back-to-back games with this lineup. You're not making any changes unless, like today, there was an illness with Donato coming out and Korchinski leaving the team. So I don't see any reason to take him out. With Tenorti out, I think Luke likes to have that, veteran young guy combo on each pair, and this kind of gives you that luxury.
Well, it certainly makes his life easier to not have to worry about, like you said, like being able to just put a guy out there for 13, 14 minutes and just say, just don't hurt us. Just go out there and play defensively sound, move the puck along the boards, get the puck deep, do the little things, clear the front of the net. And Zaitsev does all those and then ends up the game with 2 assists. And I mean, basically a goal.
For all intents and purposes, a goal. Yeah,
and that showed his patience, too. Yeah. That he got that great pass from Gutman. And a lot of guys would have one-timed that or walked in and fired it right away. He took his time, waited for the screen to get there, waited for some traffic to get in front, and then put it right through. The game's been impressive. And I think a guy like that who knows that his chances are limited, and he also knows, too, that the Hawks, they're not going to bring him back. And no. Whatever happens, whether he's traded at the deadline or they just let him walk at the end of the year, dude is fighting for his NHL life. He really is. And when you think about someone who sits out like 6, 7, 8 games in a row, to stay engaged and to stay positive and to stay optimistic is a hard thing to do. Like, really think about the mental toll that's taking on Nikita Zaitsev. And the other thing, too, is you're on this team, you're practicing with all these guys, but you're like an afterthought to the fans. I'll be honest, he's an afterthought to us in the media. Like, no one talks to him in the locker room. He's never approached for he will be now, but he's never approached for a one-on-one. It's kind of like he's on the outside looking in, and that's got to be a really tough and difficult situation for a guy he's on the plane, he's on the trips, he's at practice, he's doing everything all these guys do, but he's over here and it seems like everybody else is over here. That's got to be a really tough and awkward situation for him.
Yeah, he's handling it well, and the best way to show you're handling it well is when you do get your chance, make the most of it, and he has. They have there hasn't been many shifts where you've gone, oh my God, Nikita Zaitsev is a disaster, get him out of here. Now, that first shift against Anaheim with him and Murphy was bad.
That was tough.
But it got better, if there are worse things you could do, that if you're a Stanley Cup contending team and you need a guy that can go out there and play 12, 13 minutes a night and not make a huge mistake, if Zaitsev keeps playing like this, you might get phone. The Blackhawks retain half of his salary. You get a guy like that to be your sixth guy, play reliable defense like your Jack Johnson type defenseman for 2.5 for the rest of the season.
Sure.
You might get a couple of phone calls,
especially some team that starts picking up some injuries. And the other thing too is, if he becomes a guy that you can rely on a little bit, it allows you to trade a defenseman that maybe has a little more value on the market. And I mean, the only real guy that qualifies as that you would consider trading is Connor Murphy. And I know he's had a tough year, but I think a lot of teams would look at his season and say, he's on a bad team. He's constantly playing with some young guys. Look, I think he has been individually pretty bad this year. But you get the out-of-town stupid people that say, well, look at this, though. Look who he's playing with. It's not really his fault.
I think if Murphy didn't have another year on his contract, 2 years on his contract.
Is it 2 after this one?
I think it's still 2 after this one. At least 1.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yes, I don't think
that's going to make him very. I thought it was 1 more.
I don't think anybody's looking to get 2 years of that, because it seems that he's in the decline, and that's only going to get worse.
Yeah, that's true.
So if Murphy was on, 1 more year after this, you might be able to consider it, but I don't see anybody looking to get that.
Yeah. Want to knock out some super chats here?
I do want to knock out some super chats.
All right, we got a $5 super chat from Kyle. He says, why not extend Jason Dickinson? When do we start keeping some of these depth pieces for the next competitive window?
I don't think that's out of the order. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibilities.
I don't think so either. I think that, especially the fact that he was a Kyle Davidson acquisition, like when you start to look at who's going to be here when this team wins again. I know we did that kind of at the end of last year, like who matters, who doesn't. I think Dickinson's a guy that's going to be here. And I think coming into this year, you thought Taylor Radish might be on the same thing. I'm not as sure about that anymore, but Jason Dickinson will be unrestricted after this year. He's 28 years old, makes $2.65 million. The Hawks can bring him back. I would do 2 years, 3 years maybe. Give him a little more than anybody else is going to give him because they can.
See what he wants. Maybe you say if he wants 3.5, you say, fine, we'll give you 3.5 for 2 years, or we'll give you 3 for 3 years.
Right.
Maybe he wants that third year and say, all right, I'll do 3 for 9 instead of 2 for 7.
Well, and then you also have, as the team starts to get a little bit better, you can bump him down in the lineup, and he's still effective in a fourth line or third line role. I really like him. He's just a really versatile player. Yeah. You can never have too many Jason Dickinsons on your team.
No, and he also, from a selfish standpoint, he's one of the best guys in the room to talk to.
Yeah, definitely.
Gives you a lot of good stuff. Always outgoing and generous with his time. So lots of reasons to keep Jason Dickinson around. And I'm all for bringing him back after this year. Definitely.
We got a $2 one from Ralph, who says, Bedard not scoring is concerning, especially for Calder.
He's still leading all the rookies in points.
Yeah, so, I don't know what your concern is. He's got 21 points in 26 games.
He's not going to score every night.
Yeah.
Especially when there's not a lot of help around him. I would like him to score more goals at home. It seems that he plays better on the road.
Yeah.
At least offensively. But I wouldn't be worried about it. I mean, if you would have told me before the season started that he'd have 11 goals and 21 points in his first 26 games, I'd be like, I will take that.
That's
about that. Yeah.
About what we expected.
He's still on pace to score over 30 goals, and we're a third of the way through the season. So he's on pace for 30 goals and 63 points. I think we all would have.
Sure.
That's going to be good enough to win the Calder.
I would think so. Yes, that should certainly be enough. So
if he had 5 goals and 15 points, I'd be concerned.
Right.
And it's not from a lack of trying. I mean, I think he needs to get a little more accurate on some of his shots. It seems he misses a lot.
But I think when you have a guy that is so good at picking corners the way he is, he is aiming for a very specific spot.
Sometimes he just has to just say, screw it, get it on the net. And that's going to come with time and experience. So
keep talking. I'm going to do some math.
I wouldn't be too concerned. I would like to see him score more goals with the red sweater on in front of the home crowd, as opposed to always on the road. But the concerns on Bedard are not great at this moment. I think what we've seen so far is as advertised, and we'll be good. Should I hit the next super chat, or you?
Just for comparison,
okay.
Connor McDavid had 24 points in his first 26 games and was on a significantly better team than Connor Bedard is on, with better help and better players with him. Yeah. So
hopefully that
it is a fine
Ralph.
pace.
Yeah, hopefully that makes you feel better, Ralph. Thank you for the super chat.
Yeah, appreciate it.
We have one last one from Jake. Kyle, Ralph, and Jake. Such nice regular names on a Saturday night. I'm not sound on hockey X's and O's, so I'm curious, do the Hawks play too tight in front of the net on defense? Feels too tight to get sticks in the way.
Too tight. I'm assuming he means too close to the goalie?
Yeah. I don't know. To me, sometimes they play a little too the opposite of tight.
Yeah, they were just getting slaughtered on those backdoor goals for a while. Maybe they're overcorrect. If he's noticing that now, I honestly haven't noticed that, but maybe the fact that they're overcorrecting for the 6 or 7 backdoor goals in like 3 or 4 games over the last little bit. Maybe they're overcorrecting, but that was not something I had observed. I have noticed though recently they've been doing a really good job at clearing the puck out of the crease when it comes to it.
Yeah, they've also having guys like Vlasic and Crevier with their 84-foot reaches helps in that department.
Certainly easier. Yes,
there may be a correlation to having those two guys on the ice. To be more of that. There just may be a coincidence. Before we get on to the next topic, I just want to make a real quick shout out to someone I know is watching. I just want to say hello to Josie, who's watching at home. 2.5-year-old Josie.
Hi, Josie.
Watching her first post-game show.
Nice. That's awesome. Yeah. Good to hear from you, Josie. Well, don't pay attention to this read because we're going to tell you about Goose Island. They're Chicago's beer since 1988. Just 19 more years for you, Josie. You can have your first Goose Island. CHGO is supported by Goose Island Beer Company, and they've got their amazing roster of beers. The Christmas Ale's out now. The Beer Hug family, you've got the Blackhawks Pale Ale, the Bull and Goose, those special Bulls and Blackhawks releases that came out right when the season began. Always great. The Full Pocket Pills, that's what the Goose Island Brewers are drinking. And, of course, the flagship, one of my favorites, the 312 Wheat Ale in that beautiful yellow can. Always refreshing, always delicious. I'm sure the Goose Islands were flowing, Sarah, at the Christmas party last night here at CHGO.
Yeah, they ran out of seltzers, which is kind of what I was drinking, and so I had to switch over to 312s, which I wasn't complaining about at all. But
that's a win for you.
Yeah, it was good.
You're upgrading.
Yeah.
That's for damn sure.
There was a lot of Goose Island yesterday, though. It was just cases.
Nice. Well, you know what? Just like Sarah did, grab yourself an ultra fresh Goose Island beer. Get one at their brewery. At the brewery where they have the exclusive beers. You've got the Clybourne Avenue location in Lincoln Park, or their tap room on Fulton Street in Westtown. Check them out. Goose Island Beer Company, Chicago's beer.
And if you want some sort of device or
go get it?
Vehicle to
I can go get it.
Sure.
All right.
To store and keep your Goose Islands cold. Do you need the perfect bag for game day? Varsity Coolers will have you set on game day and beyond with the best portable cooler and weekender duffel around. They have such a really cool, unique design. They're for the NFL fans in your life. The exterior of the bag is going to have the team colors. So in our case, as Jay is going to bring in here, it's going to have the awesome Chicago Bears colors and logos all over. At the bottom of the bag, a map of Chicago. So if you get lost, you'll know exactly where to go to find your tailgate party. The banner on it has some cool landmarks. It's got the Chicago skyline on there, of course. And the inside, the lining includes the food scene of that city. So you got some hot dogs, you got some pizza in there. Awesome. It doubles as a cooler, waterproof and insulated, and a travel duffel. Fits in a golf cart or as carry-on luggage. It's a perfect Christmas or Hanukkah holiday gift for the football fan in your life. 21 teams represented, built to show up in style to a party or just repping it around town. It could be used as a gym bag, which make sure you wipe it down on the inside after you use it before you put some food or drinks in there.
Get that beef juice out.
Yes, get the beef juice out. Head over to varsitycoolers.us Use the promo code CHGO at checkout, and you're going to get 10% off your order. Give everybody on your list a varsity cooler for the holidays. That sounds like a good idea.
All right. I want to mention this because I'm going to just speak for myself, and I'll let you speak for yourself too. I know we have been crapping all over people who will not let go of Patrick Kane coming back. Even though the ship has sailed, the team has made it clear it's not going to happen. But Patrick Kane scored his first goal of the season tonight for the Red Wings in their 5-1 loss.
And they lost.
But, hey, a guy he's arguably the best Hawk ever, came back from a massive injury, a very, intense surgery. So welcome back to the league, Patrick Kane. Great celebration. If you saw the goal, very classic Kane. You could see how much that meant to him coming back from that injury and getting back on the ice. So Patrick Kane scores his first goal as a Red Wing, which is weird, but he did it, and it was a nice goal, very Patrick Kane-y.
It's a good night if you're a Patrick Kane fan and a Blackhawks fan, because Patrick Kane scored a goal, and the Blackhawks and the Red Wings still lost by 4.
Yeah, exactly.
Win-win.
Exactly.
Win-win.
Yeah, so it was
0-2 in the
I feel like sometimes we get so tired of people say bring him back that it feels like we're crapping on Kane where we're actually crapping on the idea of Kane. I feel like I at least have kind of grown bitterness about him because I'm so tired of the question.
Right.
Today I was like, you know what? I'm not mad at Patrick Kane, and I have nothing against him. So I'm happy that he got the goal tonight in a Red Wings loss, which is, like you said, just perfect. Yeah. And that's great. I don't want the fact that we're tired of talking about him coming back to change the fact that he did a lot of great things here for the Hawks. Obviously, it goes without saying. And in my mind, he's a Hawk for life. I just don't want to, I don't want it to seem like we don't like or appreciate what he did here. I think we're just tired of, they should bring back Kaner. It's not going to happen. Just let it go.
Good for him. The dude worked his ass off to get back to this point. As I said, I hope he scores a goal every night and they lose every night.
Yeah, I'll take that.
I mean, sure. I hope he does well, but I want the Red Wings to lose all the time, and they're 0-2 in the Patrick Kane era. So, haha.
There was I forgot, it might have been Bar Down who had a tweet of, it was Kane the wrestler with Patrick Kane's head on it, and then on the head of Paul Bearer, coming down the aisle, was Steve Yzerman. So, yeah, it was funny. It was clever. It was clever.
Steve Yzerman is so freaking overrated. It's not even funny.
Overrated as a GM.
GM.
Yes.
One of the best hockey players.
He was a very
of all
good player.
time.
Yes, that's for sure.
Yeah. Very, very overrated as a GM. I'm so tired of hearing the Yzer plan.
Yzer plan. We'll see. Hey, man.
It took him 10 years to even sniff the playoffs, so maybe it's finally working.
There you go.
Once he overpaid for a bunch of veterans.
Olimata. When Steve Yzerman does it, it's genius. When the Blackhawks do it, it's stupid.
It is.
All right, Sarah, I think we're ready to call the 4-star of the game, aren't we? With a massive win. What was the final percentage? You got it in front of you? I don't have my YouTube
76%.
Our fans love them some Alex Vlasic.
2 nights in a row, Alex Vlasic is our 4-star of the game. Finished with a goal, 22-17 of ice time, a shot, and 3 shot attempts. I will say, I definitely think that he is deserving of the 3rd star, or the 4-star. I always do that. But I will say that for Mackenzie Entwistle to lose by that much is not right. He had a fantastic game.
It's more of the name recognition there.
I think so.
It was, yeah.
But man, he played well.
Yeah, all 3 of those guys had great games. It's so nice to have a 4th star on consecutive nights where we're like, man, it's 3 guys who actually deserve it.
Yeah.
Where so many nights we're like, we can't even think of 3 guys worthy of being in the poll, let alone who should win it.
Yeah.
To have 3 guys where you're like, man, I see why they got him that, but it could have been this guy.
Yes.
It's nice. That means it was a good game.
And Bijan is saying Mrazek in all caps. So he was
the
number 2 star.
Number 2 star.
So he can't be the 4 star if he was the 2nd star.
Yes.
That's not how it works.
No.
Tomorrow, the Caps are here. If you have not been keeping up with the Caps,
they've been good.
They've been better than expected.
After they started the season off really bad.
Awful. Still, though, regardless of how unexpectedly well they're playing, the whole point of the Washington Capitals is to get Alex Ovechkin Wayne Gretzky's record. And if you recall, last time the Capitals were at the United Center, Alex Ovechkin scored a hat trick, which got him to number 800.
That was one of the coolest experiences of not only just my career, definitely my career, but just my hockey life, to be there to see that. So cool.
Well, he's got 827 now. The record is 894, as most people know. Let me ask you this. I've been thinking about this. He's at exactly 1,500 points, by the way. Does it feel weird? I don't want to take anything away from him. But, like, if he was not within striking distance of this record, do you think he'd still be playing? Probably, right?
I think so.
Like, does it feel like he's just playing to get the record?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Like, he's not reached Emmitt Smith territory yet. Like, right. Emmitt Smith on the Cardinals was just to get the record.
Just get the record, right.
It's not that territory. Like, he's not there yet. Now, maybe in a year or two it will be. It probably will be when he actually breaks the record. If he breaks the record, he's going to break the record. That's going to
take a while. Yeah, he's going to.
He's going to. He's going to get out. Like, he's still playing Alex Ovechkin hockey. I mean, he does what he does. Half the night he looks like the controller lost battery power.
I love that.
And all of a sudden he just jumps in a play and boom, it's in the back of your net, and you didn't even see it coming. So, I don't think he's at that point yet. He's still the most impactful player on that team. So when he's no longer the most impactful player on his team, then we can make that argument.
All right, here's another thing. Gretzky got to 894 in 1,487 games. That is 116 more than Ovechkin has played. In 116 games, can Ovechkin get the record?
That would be quite the achievement.
That would be, yeah.
How many goals is he away? 80-something?
Let's see. Do the math for me. 894 minus 827.
So he's like 70 goals away.
84 minus 827. 67 goals away. 67 goals in 116 games. That's tough.
In 116 games?
Yeah.
So that's like a little more than
a goal every other game. More than that.
It's achievable.
He's got 5 goals in 24 games.
It's not impossible, but it's improbable.
Yeah, I would say it's improbable.
It'd be fun. The fact that he can almost do it in the same amount of games is really impressive when you think of.
Well, yeah, Gretzky's playing against plumbers and stuff. Like
true, and Gretzky had so many freaking assists in his career too. I mean, that's my favorite hockey stat of all time. If you take away Gretzky's goals, and just put his assist, he still has the most points in NHL history.
Yes.
That's my favorite sports stat of all time. But yeah, and as we say in the chat, Gretzky had some pretty lame years at the end of his career too. That's true.
You know what though?
You know what the most lamest was? His time with the St. Louis Blues.
Well, here's the deal though.
Screw the Blues.
His final years were way better than you remember.
Because they weren't Gretzky-esque. They weren't Hart Trophy-esque.
His last year
still had over 20 goals.
Last year with the Rangers, he played 70 games, had 62 points. Okay.
Yeah.
The year before, at the age of 37, he had 90 points in 82 games.
Yeah, it's still very, very
good. The year
good,
before that, 97 points in 82 games.
All right,
these are massive numbers.
I wouldn't call that lame then. Lame to his standards.
Age 35, 102 points in 80 games.
All right.
It felt to me the same way. Wayne's just not the same anymore.
Well, yeah, because he wasn't scoring 200 points.
Yeah,
he was scoring 100
but that was like the 98-99 season was That was like the beginning, like when Darian Hatcher was like patrolling the blue line and was like, oh, that's the clutchy, grabby, like no offense, no two-line pass game. And he was still put up 97, 100 points.
How many points did he have with his amazing stint with the Blues?
He had 21 points in 18 games.
And they lost in the first round of the playoffs that year, I believe.
Yeah. He had to wear those horrific.
Yeah, with the red triangle.
Oh,
too.
God. Now, for him, no, they did not. Let's see. They must have won a round.
Okay.
They won 13, or they played 13 games that year.
Then they
and he had 16 points.
They lost in the second round. So,
yeah.
They had Gretzky at over a point per game and still lost in the second round.
Yeah. Bijan says Bedard is going to break Gretzky's or Ovi's record. We had one guy say they're concerned he's not scoring enough, and we have another saying that he's going to break Wayne Gretzky's goal record.
Ends of the spectrum.
So I think somewhere in the middle
we'll probably be right.
is where we should go. Cricket gave us $1. I think she must have said something about Patrick Kane earlier in the chat.
Thank you for the $1.
And she's taking young Dangle God's bit. Where's he been, by the way?
He died. He's been MIA. He went on his bachelor party. We've never heard from him since.
He's gone. Maybe he could send some love to Mackenzie Entwistle's family. By the way,
he's hanging out with Kim Johnson somewhere.
Oh, jeez. I tweeted my favorite GIF when we talk about Mackenzie Entwistle is the scene from Happy Gilmore where Chubbs and Abraham Lincoln and the alligator are waving. And someone said, I don't get the reference. And someone just said, Mackenzie Entwistle's an orphan with no context. So I had to go on Twitter and tell the story again about why we make the joke about Mackenzie Entwistle not having family.
When I tweeted out the Entwistle penalty, the only reply was, good thing his parents weren't here to see that.
Yeah, that's a shame.
I like that our bit, like...
Are we at a clarification crossroads right now?
I think we're in a pretty good. I think we got most of our regulars here, but sure, we can.
Just the short version is, first game of last season, we talked to him before a game, and he was talking. We were in Denver, and we were talking about, like, hey, starting a season on a row, what's that like? Yada yada, just asking dumb questions as we do. And he said, there's a lot of guys here that have their families with them, and me, I don't have a family. So yada yada yada, and we just kind of clung on to the
we're idiots and we rolled with it. And,
he meant he doesn't have a wife and daughter and all that sort of stuff.
Right. And then we explained it to him at the end of the season. We had him on the show, and we explained it to him. He's a good sport about it. He's like, "Oh, okay, I've gotten comments, and now this makes sense." So Mackenzie Entwistle, great sport about it all. Great kid too.
Yeah, he is a super easy guy to root for.
Anytime he has success, I'm happy for him.
Definitely. I'm looking at the blue scorecards here. Highest rated game was actually Petr Mrazek. Nikita Zaitsev second. Jason Dickinson third. Connor Murphy was fourth. Beauvillier and Anderson. Those are your top, 6 before you get to 2 St. Louis Blues. The worst rated player today. You want to take a guess? It's a Hawk.
Worst rated player of the entire game would be...
I don't think you're going to get it.
Isaac Phillips?
Isaac Phillips was second worst.
So that probably means...
Seth Jones was the worst. Not your typical Seth Jones game.
No, I know everybody was quick to be like, oh, look at Seth Jones give on that 3-on-1 shorthanded goal. So it's like, everybody loves to jump on it when the mistakes happen, and mistakes do happen, and then ignore all the good stuff that happens.
Yeah.
Not his best effort, that's for sure.
No, sure, but he played 27 minutes.
But you know what? That was a game where you didn't need Seth Jones' best effort.
No.
Which is a refreshing change of pace, because a lot of times you get his best effort and you lose 6-2.
Right. I remember also that last week Luke made a point of saying a lot of people will watch a goal and be like, well, that's Seth Jones' fault, and not notice that a couple people
it's 3 breakdowns.
You have a forward miss a check, you have another defenseman fall down, and he's the last guy back. I didn't get a good look at that shorty because I was dealing with a family crisis at the moment, but he's overall very good. We don't need to get into that too much.
Yeah.
The other thing though is I made a note of this in the first period where I said, remember those 2 opportunities the Hawks had where Taylor Radish had a goal he should have scored, and Beauvillier had a goal he should have scored. And it felt like those could be the sort of things that come back to haunt, as the game goes on.
Isaac
but
Phillips hit a post, too.
Yes, he did. But Radish had a couple today. Yeah. And he had one where he almost scored, and then there was another one where he had a chance to shoot and just opted to not. I don't know. He is a really tough dude to figure out. Like, you talk about, like, looking the part. Taylor Radish is a big dude. He's shown he's got some offensive ability. But this year, he's been really hard to find. He's just not contributed a lot at all.
And he's coming off one of his better games of the year. He was really good against Anaheim on Thursday.
Yeah, and I think he played well in this one.
That line was good. It was like, as I said, you had Gutman had 4 shots on goal. Tyler Johnson had 4 shots on goal. And Radish had just 1 shot on goal. And can we talk about Lucas Reichel? Speaking about plays where goals were almost scored, that pass he made to set up Reese Johnson in the second period was a fantastic pass. And at first I was like, wow, what a pass. Oh, crap, it's Reese Johnson. But then Reese Johnson
got it all.
got a one-timer off. So hats off all the way around.
Hey, all these dudes are NHL players. Like, they're all capable of uncorking a one-timer if need be.
I like Reese Johnson a lot. Like, he's a fourth liner.
Yeah.
That's what he's going to be. But if Reese Johnson left the United Center and walked down Johnny's and jumped into any Rat League game, he would clown guys.
Yes.
He would look like Wayne Gretzky out there in like 1982 Wayne Gretzky.
Yes.
Like, they're still NHL guys. So but I just wanted to give some props to Lucas Reichel on that pass. That's the type of play that gets the confidence going.
Yeah, definitely. I think he, like I said earlier, Lucas has had a really good game. With Radish, I just want to know, like, what is he? Because I'm not if he is just a checker, if he's just a penalty killer, if he's just a guy like that, like, I guess I could live with that if the money's right. I don't know. I don't know what to think about him.
Unless he turns it on and plays really well these last 50 some odd games. I mean, I don't.
He led the team in shorthanded ice time today, 241.
It's kind of funny because
aside from Jones, sorry.
Radish is in the lineup every night, no matter what.
Yeah,
and yet Boris Katchouk is fighting to play, and right now, at the end of the year, they're both going to be RFAs, I believe. If I had to choose for one to bring back next year, right now it's Boris Katchouk, and I never thought I'd say that.
That's interesting. That's an interesting question because I don't know, like, at least with Radish, I've seen a guy who can score at this level, like, consistently. They're both RFAs, not consistently, but I mean, we've seen him put together a year and a half of pretty good hockey.
Right.
This year he's been disappointing, that's for sure. Both are 25. Both have 1 year this year only remaining. It's 758,333. Both are arbitration eligible RFAs after this year, as are Joey Anderson, Reese Johnson, Mackenzie Entwistle, and Cole Gutman up front. Reichel was restricted but not arbitration eligible.
But you just said it. You still don't know what Taylor Radish is.
But
you know exactly what Boris Katchouk is.
But I've seen Katchouk be, I would say, if we're going by the entire sample size of their time here, Radish has been the better of the two. I don't think there's much doubt about that. And it's not just about offense.
Overall, but since like March 1st of last year,
Katchouk's been better.
All right, Taylor Radish, 26 games, 4 goals, 2 assists. Boris Katchouk, 17 games, 2 goals, 2 assists.
Yeah, no, I know. Katchouk has been significantly better this year. I don't think there's any.
But my point is, like, Radish just is out there every day, top 6. Literally.
Yeah.
Since he's been here, top 6.
Right.
No questions asked. Why?
I mean, all I can imagine is it's because he had a 20-goal season last year. But
somebody had to score goals.
Yes, exactly.
Andreas Anthony had a 20-goal season last year.
I call that the Kyle Calder phenomenon, where it's just happens to be the most talented guy on a bad team, or one of the most talented guys on. Like, and Birdman says it in the chat, like, Radish isn't even a borderline fourth liner on a cup contender. Is he playing on the Avalanche? Is he playing on the Golden Knights?
There was a reason that
Katchouk isn't either, to be fair, but
there's a reason Taylor Radish had so many games in the AHL because he was on a cup contending team, the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Yes.
And they barely found time for him.
And what the Lightning did when they traded for Brandon Hagel, aside from giving the Hawks 2 first-round picks, thank you very much, they also said, we'll also give you Radish and Katchouk because they're going to help you.
They're never going to play here.
They'll never have a chance. We want to do right by them and give them an opportunity to play.
Well, as the Giggities says, Katchouk's never been gifted the top 6 minutes. Like
top sex either.
Well,
you just got fired by John McDonough.
Top sex. Well, it is Glenn Clegg.
Nope, you got fired.
In the picture.
You accidentally said sex. You get fired by John McDonough.
Well, good.
Who's that? Susanna Collins? Was that her name?
Yeah. No.
Yep.
Screw John McDonough.
Enabler.
But it's true.
Penis.
I'd like to see Katchouk get a crack at a couple of games playing on Taylor Radish's spot, and let's see what happens.
I'm down.
Can't do any worse.
I'm down. I mean, look, you'll get an opportunity this year. There will be some injuries that pile up or something, or post-trade deadline if they decide to move Tyler Johnson or whoever else they might decide to move at the deadline.
And
he'll get his opportunity.
And I like Taylor Radish. I need to see more right now.
I agree.
We're getting to the point where, there's going to be even less roster spots available after this year, as far because you're going to get some more young guys coming up. Colton Dock's going to be an NHLer probably at the start of next season.
I would imagine so.
You don't know.
Keeps going the way he's going.
Ryder Rolston may surprise somebody and be a fourth liner next year. Guess who's going to be playing for another team if those progressions keep continuing and Taylor Radish doesn't start producing?
12 points in 16 games in Rockford for Colton Dock. Yeah. He's doing very well. And I think,
at his first,
correct me, didn't he? He started a little bit slow, too, because he was coming off the injury.
He missed the first 3 weeks of the season.
Yeah. And Ryder Ralston, 6 goals and 1 assist. He's on the Jake Neighbors plan in 18 games with the Ice Hogs. So, yeah, I mean, there are guys of the same makeup as Katchouk and Radish, like on the horizon,
who are coming in on their entry-level contracts.
Yeah.
It's an easy decision.
It could be
an easy decision.
It could be both of them.
Yeah, it could be.
And
again, I don't have a problem with that either necessarily.
And Radish might be a guy you can get something for at the deadline too. Because usually RFAs come back. You don't usually just let RFAs walk.
Right.
Either you trade them or you sign them.
Right.
Usually.
So
we'll see.
Or Dylan Strome you let go.
Oh God. Whatever.
Yeah, I just want more out of Taylor Radish because we've seen it.
Yeah, definitely.
We've seen it, and I want to see some more. But this was a guy who was a big season, much like Philip Kurashev last year. Like, you got to prove you're going to be here for the long haul. He hasn't yet. Like, if you move on from Taylor Radish and replace him with Colton Dock next year, okay.
Yeah, I'm not mad about that.
I'm actually
knocking on this for health for Colton Dock. I'm knocking on wood.
Should we wrap up our segments and call it a?
Let's do that. We're going to do Connor's Corner, but first we want to tell you about our friends at Midtown Athletic Club.
How can we forget about them?
Locations in Palatine in the Northwest Burbs, Bannockburn in the North Shore, Willowbrook in the Southwest Burbs, and the Midtown Athletic Club and Hotel in the middle of Bucktown. Different name last night. And Lincoln Park. Midtown Palatine has launched a multi-million-dollar transformation of the club. Congratulations, Greg Braggs, which will be complete in early 2024. Listeners can lock in favorable rates if they join before the end of the year. And there is something at Midtown for everyone. If you're single, you're a family with kids, you're looking to make some lifestyle changes, you're into holistic wellness, well, guess what? You're going to have all those things from our friends at Midtown. They've got boxing. They got spin classes and cycling. Go find yourself a spin cycle. They've got that. Group exercises, cross-training, high-intensity interval training, yoga, if you want to do something low-impact. I know, Greg, you're a big yoga guy.
Did some yoga yesterday. It felt great.
Everything you need is there for you at Midtown. And this is not just like some rinky-dink gym where you just walk in, you work out, you scan your card, and you leave. This is it's a community, it's an atmosphere, it's a whole vibe in Midtown. You should go check it out. That's for damn sure. Head over to midtown.com/CHGO to find out more and to tour the Midtown Athletic Club nearest you. All right, let's go to Connor's Corner and then we'll wrap the show up. Yay. Oh, yeah, we do have to do Leader Rock. Do we, though?
We don't have to. We can spend 3 seconds on it.
I mean, we don't really have to do it.
No, we don't.
All right. Connor Bedard finished a -1, no points. He had a shot and 7 shot attempts. Also credited with a hit. Only took 4 faceoffs, won 1 and lost 3. But had he won 1 more, he would have been 50%. And that would have been good. So there's your night for Connor Bedard. A couple in a row where he hasn't been the difference maker all the time. I really like, we'll get into this a little bit next week too. Like, they've made a couple changes to the power play, and it looks a lot more effective. So I think the points are going to start coming for him. He's had some bad luck. He's missed the net. So yeah. West Coast road trip will be good for Connor Bedard.
Yeah. Let's see him get a goal tomorrow against Ovi.
That would be fun.
Close the gap a little bit.
That would be great. Yes, close the gap on Ovechkin. Exactly. All right. And who's your Hawk? The winner's Mario. Congratulations.
Yeah, cool. Way to go.
We'll mail the helmet to your house.
Put a rubber band around your head for the next 5 minutes in honor of winning.
The way it fits Mario, though, it's like just put like a garbage can on your head. You and I, it's a tight fit. For Mario, it's always flopping around in there.
It fits like just right.
Yeah. For me, it just makes me feel like I'm tripping balls, which is not the greatest feeling in the world. I don't like it. You know what I do like, though? Hawks wins. And let's hope we get another one tomorrow night. Hawks and Caps will be back after the game.
6 o'clock start, so look for us to be here around 9-ish.
Yeah, probably about 9 o'clock.
A little before 9. We'll be back at you.
Yeah, on your way out, please smash that like button for us. And, hey, tell a friend. I saw this really great Hawks podcast. You should check it out. Share our links, all that great stuff. We would appreciate it. Just hit that retweet button or share our YouTube videos on Facebook or whatever. After a game. That's super, super helpful. But we'll talk to you tomorrow after Hawks and Caps on the CHGO Blackhawks podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.